Good evening, folks. Welcome to Arclight's ASYLUM. I'm your host, Zach. We've got another episode of Real-Time Painting for you tonight. Quick shout out to the channel sponsor, ASYLUM Minis and Games. Derek's been helping support my endeavors for a few years now, and I'm very grateful for it. Go ahead and check out his web store for anything and everything Battletech. He's also got a ton of other miniature and game lines available, card games, tons of dice and stuff as well as hobby-related supplies, paints and whatnot, lots of army painter stuff. As a Canadian, he's my #1 pick for anything Battletech related south of the border that I'm not getting directly from Iron Wind Metals or Catalyst Game Labs. So it's good stuff. Tonight we're going to continue on the forward operating base from Death Ray Designs. Last stream we did most of the base coating, but we still need to build up some of the color on the watchtowers, so we will do that. Additionally, I've also got some dry brushing we're going to do to get some cheap but effective highlighting on the HESCO barriers. Then we're going to start to pick out some of the details and work on those and refine them. We're definitely going to do like the soil in the HESCO barriers and probably start to block in all of the details on the watchtowers and on the tents. Also have to do that on the little crate packet thing as well. But yeah, that's what we're going to do tonight. Quick, easy, relaxing work. Quick reminder, pop on over to the Discord if you haven't already. In the Real-Time Painting channel, go ahead and post all of your work in progress shots, photos of your finished minis, any other hobby and art related things you want to share. I want to see them. I'm greedy. I like collecting images for references and stuff like that, so let's see it. I have a link in the description on YouTube. I've also dropped it into the chat in Discord, or the chat in the stream rather. Without further ado, let's hop over to the painting desk and get to it. What's going on, Papa Chicken? Fam's doing good. Daughter's making making out a little bit better. She's feeling a little bit better now, which is nice. Dylan Trap, happy to see you made it on time tonight. Okay. Audio levels seem good. Just gonna go ahead and change the music. This one. Even an audible Jello. Got my trademark Diet Coke with me. Have a big old gulp and rinse out my teeth because I have braces right now, and I was snacking on toast with peanut butter and jam because I'm a simpleton. And man, bread and pasta and stuff like that are the worst to eat because they just get all gummed up in your braces. But I digress. Speaking of braces, I just realized I don't have my elastics in. Got all of these things. Part of me will I go ahead and pop these in my mouth. Gotta make sure I do this now before I forget because every second counts with these things. Trying to get my bite fixed. Also got a tooth that basically never formed. So naturally when all my other teeth came in, that tooth never came in because it never existed, and then all the teeth shifted over to fill the void. So you know, I have to attach these tiny little elastics to two my teeth on the top and two on the bottom. Alrighty, now that we got that awkward shit out of the way, as you can see, I've kind of got these little containers off to the side. That is the Pascos and watchtowers. I like just kind of putting them in these little containers just because they're quick and easy to snatch out of my storage cabinet. It's good for organization. Especially because at any given time I have like 20 different projects that are at various stages of completion. But I think first things first, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some dry brushing on this guy. Yeah. So that's just quick and easy to do. I'm going to go ahead and do it here as well as on this, and I'm going to do it on this because I don't want to get it all over. I don't want to get my dry brush paint all over the watchtower if I've already gone ahead and base coated this. So I'm going to go ahead and wait a little bit for that. Color that we're going to use for that is just going to be a skeleton bone from Army Painter. Just going to go ahead and shake this up. I will put it down with a wet palette just to keep it moist. Always got to keep it moist. The funny word, moist. I'll go ahead and grab just a makeup brush. It's not too big. As you can see, it's just kind of, it's a bit skinnier than my fingertip, about half the thickness. So this is nice to kind of try to keep things neat and not super sloppy and messy. I'm gonna go ahead and just touch my makeup brush to the wet palette sponge just to get a tiny little bit of moisture in there, get a little bit of paint, and I'm just gonna work this in. I really should build another texture palette, but that requires work and effort, which is in short supply these days. Little kids are freaking awesome, but my goodness, they take a lot of energy out of you. I'm gonna focus kind of mostly top down for right now. I like the makeup brush because it provides a lot of coverage. It just and it's because it provides a lot of coverage, it's very smooth. I find I don't end up with chalky dry brushing nearly as much. We'll do a little bit of side to side. So I got to do some top down on this one side here. Go. And I'll zoom in just a little bit, and then I'll put it side by side with another one, just so you can see the difference. As you can see, like, that makeup brush just hits every little edge, so it's really nice. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and rinse, repeat. So we'll go relatively quickly. Now, I did hint at being a dad taking a lot of energy, so I am pretty tired today. It's it was a fun weekend, but a long weekend because broke from routine, had to get a lot of stuff done yesterday, and because of that I am beat today. Definitely a proper Monday today, I will say that. So we'll probably do about an hour and a half this evening. And then I'm going to game just a little bit. I'm probably going to hop on some MechWarrior Online, just to mindlessly shoot at a few things, and then call her a night and go to bed. Alrighty. Quick and easy. Throw a little bit more of the skeleton bone down on my palette. How's your folks' week been, though? Or like the past week, because I was pretty absentee. Didn't really stream much last week, so I'm curious to see how the folks are doing. Any new big developments? Kids get in trouble at school? I don't know. I'm just curious. What's your mech of choice on MechWarrior Online? Madcat Mark II. Madcat Mark II is just the answer that I will have for anything like what's your favorite clan mech? Madcat Mark II. What's your favorite assault mech? Madcat Mark II. What's your favorite light mech? Madcat Mark II. Now you can kind of see where, like, doing that, like just that little bit of airbrush volume for the highlights, when we were layering up here, especially you look at that corner, just nice contrast between the two, bright, dark, bright again, dark again, bright again, dark again. Doing this dry brush helps to break that up, but you still keep a lot of that tonal variation and that general kind of highlighting scheme. So I really like this look. I'm going with a very light touch here just because I have the makeup brush loaded with a little bit of extra paint. Just trying to avoid having to go back to the palette and the paper towel too often. I'm mostly just keeping my fingertips to the top here. Like normally I would kind of use a glove, but these are just big clunky tabletop terrain pieces, so I'm just going to kind of keep my fingers away from the stuff that I'm working on currently. These ones will be a little bit easier. These are turning out pretty nice. Just adding all that tonal variation to the layering process really pays dividends in the end. It just adds a lot of natural variation to color and tone. The small things make a big difference. Audible gel, last week I went back to the office after being out with COVID. The week before, weekend wasn't long enough between, but I was super productive, mowed the yard, cleaned the garage a bit, changed the oil. Nice. Pardon me, having a chug of my Diet Coke. And almost choked on my own phlegm. That's fun. Speaking of phlegm, I'm still kind of dealing with a bit of a sick kid. I think she's officially finally on the mend now, but she's been sick on and off for weeks. And it's just daycare. She's been going to daycare, and it's just been a round robin of illnesses amongst the kids in her room. So thankfully I've avoided getting sick, which is pretty awesome, but man, it sucks having a sick kid. You know, you just feel so bad for them and can't really do much. You know, can't really give them too many meds, so just gotta comfort them as best you can, and it does make for laborious parenting. All right. 4 of these left to do, and then I'll do the watchtower bases. I'm just going to move the tents and the crates away, just for now. Kind of loaded the brush up a little bit heavy. I'm just kind of doing very light passes, just touching the Hasco. Really see when it hits those hard edges, brightens them up quite a bit. And if you're ever curious, like, this is literally wherever possible when I'm highlighting mechs and other miniatures, I dry brush. Wherever possible. Dry brush with a makeup brush. And if you if you have a significant other who uses makeup and they have old makeup brushes, tell them not to throw them away. Lots of makeup products tend to be like oil based and stuff like that, so do make sure that you like thoroughly clean the makeup brushes if you're going to use them. But you can literally just use Dawn dish soap. Or Palmolive or something like that, and like just normal ash, like proper dish soap. Dawn will, you can't go wrong with Dawn. That'll clean any of the oils out of the brushes, and they will be safe to use with acrylics. Whoa. Werewolf 22, hello, how's it going, guys? What's going on, dude? Life's good. Busy, but good. Busy's not bad. Busy means you're doing things, It means you're lifing. Your life is lifing. There we go. I think we'll come back to a few of these actually and hit the tops just a little bit. while I still have this kind of loaded reasonably well on the brush. I am going to be coming back and going in to paint the actual soil, but kind of hitting some of those edges is handy, like some of the internal ones. The neat thing is, like, these Heskos are going to be basically finished getting painted tonight, because, you know, there's not a lot to them. So, all right, let me go ahead and load just a little bit more on my brush. Feel like I'm able to get the little top edges of the Haskos a lot better on the walls than I am the square corners. It's interesting. Would like this to just brighten up a little bit more. Dewdrops, hey man, I was wondering what kind of paints you would recommend for a newer painter. I've been wanting to keep it $60 or less, and I've been checking out some Vallejo sets, some Vallejo Express sets, and some Army Painter sets. So I will say, personally, I don't think Army Painter paints are bad paints. I think they're perfectly decent. I use a ton of Army Painter paints. They're from, most of them are actually from the original set of paints that I got. I just, like any good newbie, I went out and bought the Army Painter Mega set that had like 100, I don't know, it was like 100 paints in it or something like that, like 80 paints or something like that, many of which I didn't use for a very long time. I've actually since burned through a lot of those colors, but yeah, like they're perfectly sufficient for the job. They're not that expensive. Vallejo is definitely a step up in terms of quality. I think the price is fairly comparable. I think they're maybe like $1 more paint pot or something like that, maybe a little bit less. But yeah. Oh God. I'm just looking at Mechanical Frog's response. So you're saying that Army Painter is the root of all evil and responsible for every issue of the past 300 years. Yes, they are evil corp. They're the evil corp of the paint world. But I'm certainly not the Mr. Robot of the paint world. I'm not going to help. I'm not going to save everyone. I'm checking. I'm a pro guy myself. They're ready to go straight from the bottle. Relatively inexpensive too, especially compared to Games Workshop. Yeah, and Citadel paints I personally find are very hit and miss. Some of them are just kind of shit. Like, I mean, Corax White. Like, I mean, come on, man. Like, how many generations of Corax White have they had that literally just the moment they seal the bottle of paint, the paint just solidifies into a block that becomes unusable. And even the stuff that is usable is chalky and is just garbage. But yeah, they have a bunch of paints that are just kind of like, I don't know, they just have classic issues. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, they're priced pretty like mid to high mid tier in terms of paint cost. I would Definitely second Pro Acryl. I really like their metallics, especially. They're very smooth. And I can definitely attest, like out of the bottle, their metallics are perfect. They don't need any thinning or anything like that. Pro Acryl, bold, titanium, white, can't be beat. Yeah, 100%. Scotty meeting a YouTube celebrity. For reals. Yeah, for those of you not tracking, Mechanical Frog also has a Discord community. I'm a part of it. I will be very brutally honest, I'm largely selfish and I just self-promote it. But I do pop in and partake in conversation occasionally. But it is cool. He's got a lot of cool little sub-channels, and there's a lot of good discussion that goes on in there. And if you are a miniature painter and you want to get one of your pictures of your miniatures in one of his videos, definitely pop over there, because he takes viewer submitted photos and puts them into his videos, and you can submit in the video submissions sub-channel. So very cool. I really like that he does that. Working on the bases of the watchtowers here. It's just the two. Try to push in just a little bit here near the base where it actually goes into the Hescos. Always great when, always nice when great painters can class up my nonsense with cool photos. Well, firstly, it's not nonsense. And secondly, thank you. Alrighty. And just like that, Hesco's painted. Like, these guys are, you know, I just got to paint the soil, and I might, we'll see here. I'm gonna paint the soil in a little bit. I wanna do the base coating on the tower first, because after I do that, then I'm gonna go in and do the soil on these. I might try to be super lazy and just use pigment powders and water. I know that sounds like lunacy, but trust me, it works. We'll see. I'm gonna mull this one over just a little bit here. But we will get to these watchtowers. I'm going to push these Hescos out of the way just for the time being, clear a little bit of space. I'm going to go ahead and rinse my brush as well. And it is kind of hilarious to rinse one of these big makeup brushes, because as you can see, they just get completely waterlogged. And I usually just kind of like pinch and squeeze and pull over top of the water pot. I am very gentle, and I try not to pull too hard, because I don't want to like pull the hairs out of the ferrule. That wouldn't be good either. And then it's always handy having just like an old hand towel. If you have like a good proper cotton old hand towel, super handy to have for stuff like this. Really good as a brush bed beside the palette, good for cleanup and good for drying off brushes, especially big ones like this. Mac Frog hopping along, hope you're well. Audible Jello, getting my models featured in Mac Frog's videos, or Mr. Frog's videos, inspires me to try new things and do better. Hell yeah, brother. Every good wet palette looks like an abandoned Soviet toxic waste dump. Oh yeah, dude. I've spilled so much paint in this, it's actually crazy. I've had people message me being like, "Hey man, you have a lot of mold in your wet palettes." Like, trust me, buddy. I'm I clean the wet palette sponge at least once a week with soap and water, and yeah, it's just all paint. Pop Chicken, Zach, have you considered using your wife's eyeshadow as pigment powder? I bet that's the next painting hack. Definitely try it and claim it was certainly your idea when she asked about it. Yes. I don't even know if my wife has eyeshadow, to be brutally honest. It would be a funny prank to pull. She'd be very mad because I know eyeshadow's not exactly cheap. She doesn't. She's not the makeup type. Okay, we're gonna start with grays for now. I'm gonna go ahead and get, if I can actually get it out of the holder. Oops. I'm gonna push these out of the way here as well. I'm gonna get some black gray. Also, this is a Vallejo color. Put that skeleton bone away. We'll add that down there. And I'm just looking to see. I'll probably grab a chisel brush. Probably gonna go big first. Grab one of these. It's just an angled chisel brush. I haven't really used this one actually, and this is just from like a really cheap set from Michael's craft store. I'm gonna wet this. Just wipe off the excess. Just kind of touch this to the wet palette sponge just to add just a tiny little bit of water. And I'll just pull out like this. Haha, pull out, get it? That's an adult joke. Chisel brushes and makeup brushes are actually really handy for just doing quick little base coats on big flat surfaces like this. So I actually wait one. I do apologize. I keep snorting. I'm sure you guys hear that on the camera. If you don't, that's awesome. But I keep kind of snorting because I'm a little bit mucusy, and I'm slightly worried I might be catching whatever my daughter had, or has been fighting. Really hoping I don't, but you know. Chisel brush is real handy here because it's just got a really nice sharp edge. Fortunately, a lot of my other chisel brushes I've kind of abused, so they don't really have a nice, crisp, sharp edge. It's one of the reasons why I'm using the angled one and not just like a flat chisel brush. Otherwise, I would probably just be using a flat chisel brush. Although I do kind of like that this angled chisel brush, the one end kind of pokes a little further than the rest. And it's kind of handy for a certain amount of this when it comes to hitting the bottom here, certain areas. Really just trying to focus around the bottom right now just to kind of block everything in, and then I can kind of move a little bit more quickly, especially up towards the top, because I do want to layer this black gray all the way up, because up top here is actually black and I need it to be black gray. Really focusing on this underside. As I build up in color on the watchtower, I'm going to focus a little bit less on the underside, I think. about done. I'm gonna try to get a little bit into the recess there on the kind of that little, I guess it's kind of a walkway around the outside of the tower, maybe. That's essentially just a quick slop it up base coat, and then I'll do the same thing on the other tower. Another holder with a little, if you were watching the last stream, you would recognize these two holders because this is actually what we used to airbrush all of these pieces. Papa Chicken, try this and my other 19 marriage wellness hacks and be divorced within a week. Tip number 17 will shock you. All right, I got to know what's tip 17, Scott. Tell me, please. I'm curious. Audible Gel, I'm personally very happy my wife doesn't wear much makeup. I dated a girl years ago who had cake it on before going out, even just a malwart. I can't stand the smell of many makeups now. I haven't heard it so far. Haven't heard it so far. Curious what that means. What the hell? The U.S. Intimidators. Weird name. Just gonna say that. Weird name. Audible Gel and by she doesn't wear much makeup. I mean, she put some on for our first few dates and for our wedding, but never in between or since. Yeah, my wife just doesn't really wear much. If she wears anything, it's mascara, and that's about it. Yeah, I guess maybe a little bit of foundation occasionally if we're like gonna go out, but yeah, I guess if we're going out for like a nice dinner, that's about it. It's the only time she'll wear anything. It's not been coming through my sound. No sound? You have sound on Twitch? Okay. Curious. Check. No, you were asking if your congestive sniffles are being picked up by the mic. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Sounds good. I got scared there for a second. Everybody panic. Alrighty. Watchtower number 2, numero dos. Kind of thinned that paint just a little bit more than I probably should have. It's okay. I'm thinking I'm probably just going to do like a neutral gray. I'm probably not going to go into like a cold gray like I usually do with a lot of my grays. I mean, I know we're talking 50 shades of gray here, but I think it's going to look different. I feel like I blocked in around the bottom of this way more quickly than I did the other one. Maybe that's just me. Stipple into the recesses and then wipe on all the erased areas. I once recorded an hour-long interview with someone and their audio wasn't recorded. Quite frustrating. That sucks. That really sucks, actually. Because you can't really, like, recreate the flavor of the conversation. You know what I mean? Like, if it's one thing if you have, like, very, like, staged, like, question-answer or something like that, but, like, yeah, if you're having kind of like a free-form conversation with questions thrown in, good luck. And I guess even if you have kind of like if you have questions, like, I guess certain nuances to their answers might be different every single time, or most times. Who knows? You know, I don't know. Just different flavor to the feel of things when it's fresh versus, you know, re-recorded because the first time it didn't work out. Okay, like this is good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse the chisel brush. I think I'm gonna bust out the makeup sponge. I love using makeup tools. I will say that. Got in here. Yeah. Let's use this. Pardon me. As you can see, I've used this a number of times. The tip is starting to get a little bit hard. Giggity. Tip getting hard. Tip getting hard. Get it? Anyways. I grab Basalt Gray. I'll throw this down on the palette. I'm also going to grab some more of the Black Gray. Back in the subject of paints from Audible Jello here. What do you think of two thin coats? I've used a few and I like them, but I feel there's not enough gradient in the brightness. Emerald green to ethereal green. Sir, I'm going to need you to stop talking about your hard tip. I've never used two thin coats, but seeing as it's from Duncan Rhodes, I reckon it's probably pretty good quality. Oops, there's like a drop of water that got in the paint there. Yeah, I don't really know I don't like have any personal experience with them, so I can't really speak to them too much. Gonna kind of hit all over. Gonna add just a little bit more, I think, actually. Top's got to get some heavy application. Yeah, when it comes to not having a good enough like gradient, ultimately you could just mix colors. It is handy to not have to mix, so you have something consistent the whole time. But if you have those two greens, one's like a mid-tone, one's a highlight color. If you come up with pretty firm ratios, like 1 part to 1 part or 1 part to 2 parts, of one color versus another, when it comes to mixing your own color tones, you could pretty consistently and accurately just mix the colors to find the color gradient that you want. I know that's not the best answer, but I've done it numerous times when I'm limited on color palette. Just trying to hit all these raised areas primarily with this color. Definitely I'm trying to hit all around on the sides and especially on top. On the undersides here, I'm not really paying too much attention. I don't really need to fill out those with color, especially on kind of the tops of these railings. I think it's kind of important, especially on top of this roof. Is this whole thing is just gonna get built up with color. And I'll kind of see a bit of a comparison between the two. So you can see this one's just a little bit brighter, and I'm just trying to build in mild gradients. And as you can see, like I'm just using two colors, and I'm gonna just slowly build up to just a pure amount of that. And I'm just trying to kind of keep it a 1-to-1 ratio right now. Audible Jello, I've done some mixing. It scares me though, so I'll try to avoid if possible, but I found some good workarounds. What are the workarounds you found? And I just use TTC, AP, and Citadel paints when where I need them. Yeah, fair enough. I use a big mix of brands. I'm not married to any one paint brand in particular. I definitely I prefer, I like AK Interactive paints. I also like Pro-Acryl. I'm pretty partial to those. But I also really like Vallejo. There's a bunch of Vallejo colors I like. Unfortunately, it seems to be a lot of their older batch stuff that I have, as opposed to some of their newer stuff. I was quite disappointed one time. I got fluorescent paints from Vallejo, and they were basically hard as a rock when I got them. I don't know if it's just because they were really old and had been sitting on the shelf for a long time, but yeah. This is actually, the tip is too hard. Going back to the hard tip. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a brand new one here. So a little bit more of this up on the palette. Oh yeah, this is much better. I think this is going to get much more even coverage, especially as we move up in brightness value. Be able to apply this a little bit more accurately with just the sponge too, because the tip won't be, I won't have to press as hard for it to do its job. There we go. These are fairly similar. I'm going to build up a little bit on this one. Just because this sponge is a little bit nicer. A bit more on the sides there. And now I'm going to go to a bit more of a heavy application of the basalt gray. And I'm applying a much lighter touch here, as this is going to be where we start to really kind of build the brightness on all those really more prominent surfaces and edges. So I'm really focusing on the tops of these railings and the tops of kind of these light fixtures. And I'll kind of focus in a little bit on the top of the window ledges. And then I'll hit kind of the sides. And all these raised areas. And then a little bit down on the lower portion here. And I just took, all I did was I took a little bit of that basalt gray and just mix it into the sponge onto the previous mix area that we have, because it's just mixing it gently with the previous color that we have as opposed to just the straight up black gray. I'm gonna just get a little bit more of this off the palette. Again, I'm trying not to apply too heavy-handed here. Focus on all these raised areas. Just a little bit more. Yeah, I'm kind of on these windows. These kind of raised edges just on the top side, and then we'll hit the sides. Again, just very gently. I'm just trying to focus on the really more prominent raised areas along the sides here, rather than the recesses. Okay, and then I'll kind of hit down on these little side supports. Get the ladder a little bit, and all these side support struts, the corners especially, but especially the tops of those side support struts. There we go, kind of building that color up, and we're getting like a little bit of cheap texture out of this as well. I think the one on my to the right is still just a little bit brighter, but that's okay. Just a little bit more of basalt gray. Kind of hit some of the top area here. Having texture on flat surfaces like this, like implied texture that you actually intend on having, where it's targeted, makes things look good. Unintended texture is what tends to not look good, because, well, when it's unintended, it's usually obvious that it isn't intended. Okay, those are about similar. And just a little bit here. I'll just get a little bit of moisture onto the sponge, just to keep the tip from drying out and getting hard. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a little bit of pure basalt gray. Just kind of tapping it all over on the palette here. Flip this over. Look at that, it's magic. If I can just really hit the most raised areas, and that's all. Yeah, just most raised areas. And then we'll come in with a dry brush after and hit some of these areas as well with the same color as well as a slightly brighter tone. And we'll be sure just to hit the most prominent edges. And that'll be kind of the final little build up and highlight of these. Simple. Doesn't need to be fancy to look adequate, you know what I mean? Just looking at chat here. PTC Wizard Gray base, Null and Oil, wash, go back over to the tops panels with Wizard Gray, then edge highlight with Citadel Administratum Gray. My technique for gray-red models have shown off. Nice. The official Hunchback is done and ready for clear coat. Nice. Should throw a photo of that up in the Discord there, Scotty. I really like that synthwave Hunchback. Autobogella East Pro Curl 2, just have a few of them because my local game shops don't carry much, and when they do get a shipment, it's sold out before I can get there after work. See, I just order all my stuff online because I don't have any game shops near me, so I would suggest just ordering them online, personally. I know it's nice to support local shops, but they don't get in the things that you're interested in. I would just order online. Bit of the Asphalt Gray again here. Again, just focusing on the most prominent edges, the highest areas. And then I'll come in on both of these with a dry brush after, just to kind of hit all the edges and make everything look nice and sharp. A bit on the sides here and on the ladder, I think. Cool. As you can see, those edges are already kind of building up a bit, but this just gives us some cheap texture and some nice subtle little gradients, a little bit of shading and highlighting. And that was really quick and easy, just with a makeup sponge. I am going to go ahead and actually rinse out the tip of this. As silly as that sounds, I just don't want this to, I would like to kind of make this thing last, so. And by rinsing it, I'm literally just dunking the tip of the sponge in my paint pot water, like my clean rinse, so it sucks up some of the water, and then I squeeze it out. Not bad. As you can see, it's bloated with water right now, but this will dry out. And most of the paint's gone, so it's nice and soft. And this should stay usable for a lot longer than the purple one that we started with here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab that same dry brush that we were using before. This is dry now, so I'm going to go ahead and just tap that to the wet palette and grab the Basalt Gray. Work it in. Work it in. A little bit more paint on there. There's still a touch of moisture in the brush. Really focusing on top-down swipes with the dry brush. Really trying to hit all the top edges first and the most. Eventually we'll go in and kind of swipe side to side as well, but really focusing on top-down here. A little bit side to side here as well. Gone around all the sides, so. Getting the little area there on the guard tower underneath the roof there. There. Built up pretty well. I'm going to come back in with a slightly brighter gray, just to do some of the more extreme highlights. Extreme! But yeah. Starting a Hunchback tomorrow, I believe. Nice. I have not painted a Hunchback. I know. I just have not painted a Hunchback yet. Not even a Hunchback 2C. Hunchback 2C is pretty spicy, actually. Got some spicy variants. Haven't painted a Hunchback? Do better. Yeah, I know. I get it. I'm trying to think, there's probably another few iconic mechs that I haven't painted. Never painted Banshee. I would argue the Banshee is relatively iconic. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Those are about good. I'm going to go ahead and grab a slightly brighter gray. Use some light. No, actually. Yeah, we'll use just a touch of light gray. Here quickly. There we go. I'm gonna keep this brush just a little bit drier for this. I don't want any volume to build, I just want to get the edges. Really just focusing top down here. Zoom in just slightly for this. On these lower sections, I will kind of go side to side just because I do want some of these really prominent edges to get highlighted. And the key to having just the edges get built up is having a bit of a drier paint, i.e. not loading any moisture into the makeup brush before you do this. Whereas before I had just a little bit of gradient building because I had some moisture, very subtle streaking. There we go. Kind of the comparison side by side, if we can get that to focus. Just a little bit sharper. Pull the excess off. This one's just about done. Cool. Both those watchtowers are basically done getting blocked in and highlighted. Obviously there's details to block in on these, like the windows. There's also the little like spotlights on the sides. And arguably, like, there's a door too, kind of on the one side of the top of the guard tower, and that ladder. I think the ladder we can probably leave as is, but definitely a few details we'll pick out there. We also do need to paint the earth in the Hescos, so I think we'll go ahead and do that now. Just gonna go ahead and rinse off the little dry brush here quickly. So, I think we're going to do something fun, and this is what we're going to finish off the painting with for tonight, because it's 9:34. I think I'm probably going to finish the stream at around 10, maybe just a little bit after. We'll hang out and chat for a bit, but I want to kind of be finished painting by 10. So let's do something fun with some pigment powders. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out just slightly. So I am going to cap this off. Just push that out of the way slightly. I'll leave these on their little pegs. These other pieces for the Hescos, I'm going to bring over here. All the walls together, and then the corners. So as you can see here, I have like this little, well, I have two actually, little trays. So I have a few different mixes of pigment powders, and for pigment powders I'm working with AK pigments. I've got rust red, I've also got black, burnt umber, also got white ashes, and then I also have another one here from this is from, again, Secret Weapon Pigments. This is dark yellow, basically a desert yellow. Mixing these actually works quite well. So one color in particular, this like looks like I mean, actually this looks perfect, because this literally looks like dry cracked earth, like dried mud, just normal dirt color essentially. That is essentially a 50-50 mix of the dark yellow and the burnt umber. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to use kind of two different colors to fill out these, just to fill out the colors. These pigments will tint all of the existing monster brown that we can still see within the Hescos. So what we're going to do, we're going to use a little bit of the just kind of normal earth color. We're also going to use a little bit of the burnt rust red. We're going to use kind of both of them together. So I'm going to zoom back out slightly here. All I'm using to do this with is water. Just water. So what I'm going to do is I have a little pipette. It's really handy. Just gonna grab a little bit of water from my paint pot, and so I have a few different ones here. I'm gonna pick this one. I'm gonna add a decent amount of water to this, and that's about good. I'm also gonna grab a little bit of water and add some to the burnt rust red. There's a decent amount of pigments in here, so I'm gonna add a good amount of water. Now, funny enough, I literally just kind of let these dry out when I'm done. Like, I will just very gently place them back in my drawer and close the drawer and leave it open just like an inch. And then over a couple days, that water just evaporates, and then these pigments, well, they end up looking like these two. They just kind of dry in there. And I can just add water to them again and reactivate them and keep using them over and over and over again. Like, I think this is something that gets vastly overlooked by a lot of people. I learned this little trick from El Miniaturista on Instagram. Dude has a ton of really good workflows. Let's see if I can pick up a little bit more pigment here. Just on the brush, I'm gonna mix it in. And we're gonna come through first with this color. And I'm just washing it on. And the reason why I like using this stuff is because when it dries, it looks really dry and dusty. And if I just give a very light dusting of varnish, it keeps the dusty look and it stays protected. And because I'm washing it into this, it washes into all the recesses. And because it's washing into the recesses and not staying on the raised surfaces, it's kind of protected from abrasion. So as you can see, like, this color is just darkening this very slightly. We get just a little bit of a higher concentration of pigment there. And this is the nice thing, you can kind of add more, take away a little bit. Yeah, just like so. So you can kind of see like the difference. And obviously this is dark, like very dark right now. As it dries, it'll lighten, and again, it'll look dusty. I'm gonna leave it as is right now. I'm gonna come over to this one here and repeat the process. Once I get to the last corner piece, I'm gonna come back in with the rust red and finish those off. And then I'll move on to the other walls. And the reason why I want to just get to the fourth one and go back is I still want this to be damp when I add the other pigments. I like this because this is super low effort, and in the end it looks really good. And if you have an area where you just have like too high concentration of pigment, just add water to it and kind of move it around. Go. Just another, oops. We're going from kind of this more desaturated mid-tone brown with a little bit of basic dry brushing to this more rich, kind of saturated earthy tone. And then adding in the rust red, it'll just give it a nice little bit of tonal variation. That'll look really cool. Come over to this one here. I'm going to go ahead and start mixing this up. This might be a good example of like, I'll probably just, actually no, okay, that's good. I was worried that I was going to like just dump a ton of pigments on there, but it's actually it's suspended in the water reasonably well. I'm just going to kind of it all over like that. Again, making sure that these are still a little bit wet definitely helps. Actually, if I ever feel like I've added a little bit too much red and I want to bring it back down to the other color, I can just add a little bit more of this one, and then they mix a little bit better. But I still keep that red hue, which is nice. A little little bit more here. A little bit more of the more earthy tone. It's going right to the edges. Okay. Try to transfer some of these pigments over. And the nice thing is, once these are dry, I can always come back in and do another quick little dry brush over top of them. Because again, the pigments are going to settle into the recesses. So a little dry brush will just apply the color to the raised areas and only rub on the raised areas where the pigments aren't sitting. So go ahead and move these off to the side. And a few of these areas that have like some pigments rolling down the sides, that's totally fine. Just go ahead and wipe those off with our fingers, because all the stuff that makes it and stays is just going to look dusty once it's done. I just want to make sure I'm not going to leave like fingerprints. That's really what I'm concerned with. I'm going to go ahead and push this out of the way slightly. I didn't mess with pigment powder much because I hear it wears off super easily. I paint for gaming and like my stuff to look the same. It only rubs off easily if you don't seal it and fix it into place. You can use isopropyl alcohol to fix it into place, and then like I seal with varnish after. If you use a heavy coat of varnish, you will kind of kill some of the dusty effect. But I use it. I use pigments pretty frequently, and I use them on gaming miniatures as well. Don't really have any issues, especially if you're going to put it around like the feet of miniatures. Like you're not really ever grabbing a miniature from its feet. You're more than likely grabbing it from its torso or its arms, like its shoulder areas, or you're grabbing it from the base rim, generally speaking. So I wouldn't really fuss too much with worrying about it rubbing off with your fingertips if you're putting the pigment powders in the areas that makes sense, if that makes sense. I mean, I was a bit apprehensive too when I first started using pigment powders, and I definitely made a few mistakes. Using way too many pigment, like way too much pigment powder, not fixing or sealing it correctly. I definitely made a few mistakes. Greetings and salutations. What's going on, White Fox? Just noticed your message. Through all 6 of these, and I'll go back with the red tone. Really enjoy this process using pigments because it's a pretty organic one and you don't need to be super accurate. anything involving weathering of any kind and trying to make like something look natural. Like, I don't know, like, this is going to sound hilarious, but painting rocks on bases, especially like if I have like a little cliff face or something like that, like a little escarpment of some kind on like a diorama or a photo stage or on a base, like if I use some cork and I want to do like a little bit of a band of granite or something that's like poking up out of the soil. I love that stuff. It's like some of my favorite stuff to paint. Just because you don't, again, you just kind of free flow, because nature is largely random, so you can just kind of paint randomly. There's a lot you can do painting rocks too. Like, I mean, a lot of people, like doing the old classic, paint it gray and then dry brush it with another gray, or pick a brown and then do it with khaki, or insert color here. But there's so much tonal variation within rocks that I don't know. For me personally, I can get lost in the sauce. Painting rocks, especially things like granite, like feldspar. I really love painting them because they're so rich in color. They have all these different beautiful hues of like pinks and oranges and browns and grays and blues. I think I found like a good concentration of the red here. This is actually really nice. It's not too much. Move that out of the way. That's perfect. Four left to go, and then we'll be onto the towers. Dude, 100% painting terrain is so freaking relaxing. Yeah, like I feel like I get to Bob Ross the shit out of my paintwork, you know what I mean? Happy little tree here, happy little rock, pissed off little stream, dude. Hell yeah. Creepy little cabin. I wonder what battle mech Bob Ross would ride in. What do you guys think? We're done with this guy. You'd either ride in a Goliath blaring slow ride, or if you believe the conspiracy theories, a stalker. Ooh. I hadn't heard the conspiracy theories. Was he allegedly a stalker? Because that's pretty creepy if he was. Yellow ochre pigment makes for a great looking lichen on rocks. Definitely. I love doing, like, one thing I think a lot of people sleep on is if I'm doing like a really rich vegetated base, oftentimes, not always, but often, I will do a green wash on the soil and on the rocks especially. And then I have a couple colors like alizarin green and ochre and camo that I will stipple these onto rocks and stuff to give that kind of lichen appearance. So, right there with you. They say each painting is a trophy of where he hid the body. He did way too many paintings. I mean, how many? There was like 17 seasons of the joy of painting. He'd be like the busiest serial killer in all of human history if that was the case. That's crazy, though. I mean, who knows? You know, you never know. Almost forgot to do these. This is nice, like doing this makes it easy to paint in there because I can't really paint anything with too much detail underneath these watchtowers because, I mean, pretty hard to reach back there, so being able to just slop it up with a few pigments and just call her good, I'm happy with that. Going on to the red now. Okay. I kind of wipe those little areas off. So again, once this dries, it'll be kind of dusty looking. So having some of that stuff in those cracks will actually help. It'll help this look a little bit more realistic. All right, set that feller down. Go ahead and grab some of the red stuff here. Almost done with this one. I feel against the kind of the brighter tan and khaki that I have here, this red's just going to help stand out a little bit more. Clean a little bit. All right, so that's what we're kind of working with now. They're starting to dry. They don't quite look dusty yet. This one's still a bit damp, but I'll definitely dry brush these very lightly after they dry completely. Won't be on stream here, probably the very beginning of next stream, but yeah, these will look really nice. All right, so now I'm gonna very gingerly place stuff back in the drawer. So so stay relatively stable. And in they go. Drawer is open just a little bit. Put those away. And I'll put my pigment powders back up here. So what you can use to fix just pigment powders on their own is isopropyl. You can also use pigment fixer, which I have right here. Let me show this to you. So it's just this. This does smell pretty horrific. I shouldn't say horrific. It smells pretty bad. It's an enamel fluid, so it is strong. But yeah, there's a few different ways you can use it, but I have used this for larger diorama projects, as well as like I did a large scale Madcap Mark II that was 3D printed a handful of years ago, and did it on like a destroyed urban base with a jumping elemental. But anyways, I had a ton of pigments that I used all over the base and on the feet of the mech to make it look like, you know, I was stepping through building rubble and stuff like that. So I caked on a bunch of pigments and it looked really cool. This is definitely a useful asset for it. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and place my brushes away. We'll hop over to the PC, take a look at the Discord, chit chat for a bit, and then we'll close out the stream. If I can not, I just knocked a few of my brushes off kilter here. There we go. Alrighty, let these bad actors dry off for a little while. Okie dokie, let's open up Discord and take a look. All right, let's scroll up a little bit here. I see Scotty's, what's it called? His Hunchback. Oh yeah, so this is kind of where we left off last stream, was with the trees. Nice. Audible Jello with the cigarette in hand, I can tell. Audible Jello, more follow-up from the stream chat. Oh, look at that gunsmith. I like what you did with the canopy there. That looks really nice. I like more of these hexagonal rocks that you did with cork. Really nice job. I'm assuming that's probably a decal, but good application. Really like what you did with the base too, with the crackle paint. Kind of that Martian look. Looks really nice. Looks like my pigment powder's in the bottom of my my little holder there. More stuff from Audible Jello, really digging these lances. Atlas 2 looks really good. Hunchback looks good too. Oh yeah. Kevin, Brushido, doing the anime style paint job. Really good for a first attempt doing something like this. Like I've always been interested. There's a account on Instagram called Plastic Factory K, I'm pretty sure, and all they do is large scale Gundam kits in paint jobs like this, and they look unreal, man. Like it breaks my brain looking at them in the guy's hands. Still haven't dirtied up the Lyran Atlas's feet with pigments, but I need to do the edge highlights first. Yeah, definitely. All right, got the king crab with the layering going on with the red there. Two scary miniatures. Got the terrain. Ooh, look at that. Gonna be doing a tape job. I wonder what he's gonna do there. Interesting. Painting the control tower. Interesting. I'm really curious to see what these are all taped up for. I'm curious to see what the final result's going to look like there. Audible Jello with the shoulder decal time. Nice. I'm a big fan of the Death Ray Designs decal sheets. They've got a pretty good variety. I do find they're a bit thick, but if you use microcell and microset, they tend to work pretty well. I like their graffiti decals, actually. I've used them on a number of things, especially I have a photo stage that has quite a few of them on it, as well as one of their propaganda signs. I really like those as well, the propaganda posters. Oh, Scotty. Oh, I love the base. I didn't even notice the base before, dude. That's awesome. With the water splashing up and everything. Little beach. I like the little ripples in the sand. Nice. See, you added a little bit of brightness back in here. Looks good. And there we go. Yeah, it looks like the shoulder decal is lifting a little bit in the corner there. That's okay. A little bit of microsol, sort that out. Tamp it back down a little bit, and then I do find, I don't know if you've done this already, but I definitely find sealing, like if you apply decal, seal it in gloss, and then seal it in matte varnish to kill the shine, and bring it kind of back down to the finish of the rest of the miniature. That'll kind of help to keep it from lifting again over time, and it'll help to keep it protected, especially if you're going to handle the miniature. You won't accidentally swipe this off with your thumb. Oh, that's just the shape of the shoulder panel. That tracks, actually. Yeah, I mean, it is a Catalyst Game Labs miniature. They're not all perfect. Deadly. Whoops. Ah, it's pretty good. Some Nuln oil settled in the little plastic dip. Ah, I see. So that's what's creating kind of that little area right there. That makes sense. Yeah, definitely digging this, Scotty. Looks really good. I love the amount of magenta in the paint job. You'll make Kevin Witt really happy. I'll do some more Nuln oil blending on it and seal with Munitorium varnish. Well, so one thing you can actually do too, that'll actually, I wouldn't even try to cover this up. I would add like chipping and scratches to like the edges of this and a few of the other edge panels. If you check out, I mean, a lot of my streams, I have streams where I do chipping and scratching, just freehand chipping and scratching, just with paint. But if you go to my Sigma Lance tutorial, I have a section where I do weathering, and yeah, if you come in with like a bright highlight color and kind of stipple and edge highlight around this like messily and do a few scratches and do that on some of the other panels, it'll look really good. And then having that little bit of dark area where the Nuln oil settled, it'll kind of look like there's a bit of patina on the paint. It'll just add to the weathering effect. Just a thought. Don't know if you're looking to keep this like nice and clean and sharp, but definitely something to consider. Yeah. Well, with that, I think I'm happy to call it an evening, folks. I appreciate your time. I hope you enjoyed your stay in Arclight's Asylum, watching tonight's episode of Real Time Painting. I hope to see you again next episode, Thursday, August 28th. At 8:30 Central. We'll see if we can crack through a number of the other details on these. Might even be able to finish it if we go hard for 2 hours. We'll see. But for sure, you know, tight window, but I reckon no later than Saturday evening we'll be able to call these complete. Until then, though, I'll bid you folks a good evening. Stay safe, stay strong, stay true. Have a good one, y'all.